Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1893 AN. Today's date is June 15th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Central Banks Unite Against Trump. The battle for the economy has begun. So I have a question for you. Are we looking at the start of the next stock market crash? This is a monthly chart of the S&P 500 since 2011 from Noble Gold. You can see that it has been a long upward run for stocks, but recently, in December and now May, the market has started to topple. Like a ball thrown in the air, at some point gravity will overcome the upward forces. The S&P is a balance of buys and sells, and the sells look like they are winning now. The big question is, how far will the market fall? Some commentators are predicting 2,200 or less. That's 25% hit or more. This correction has been on the cards for months now. And during this time, Noble Gold, they have been getting their clients to buy precious metals as a hedge against their pension funds losing massive chunks of their investments. It is especially important for those with IRAs, 401k rollovers who have no diversified investments, just stocks and mutual funds. It's not too late, but time is running out. If you're worried about another market crash, you need to talk to one of the Noble Gold team members now. Give them a call at 877-646-5347 to find out how you can protect your investment and keep your fund intact. And make sure you mention X22 Report or click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we discussed, the reset of the economy has begun, and Trump, he is resetting the economy by first tackling the trade imbalances. And what Trump is going to do is he's going to set the trade imbalances straight, where there's fair trade between all these countries. And this needs to be done, and it has to be done, because once we remove the petrodollar system, this is when the United States is going to have to be independent with all other countries, where they're going to have something to trade with. Because if we think what happened in the past with the petrodollar system, these countries that keep the petrodollar system in reserve, they use this to buy goods here in the United States. Well, they're no longer going to keep the petrodollar system, the petrodollar in reserve. So we're going to have something that countries want. We're going to have to manufacture things that countries want. And we're going to have to go out to other countries and buy what they have. And the trade has to be fair and balanced. This is why Trump went after the trade deals first. He knew and he understands that this part of it has to be the foundation of the reset. Now, moving forward, he's going to tackle the currency. He's going to tackle the central bank system itself. And I've said this before, the central bank system is going to be quite tough to tackle. The central bankers, going back in history, they don't give an inch. And even if it seems like they're giving an inch, they're really not. And Trump knows that this is going to be very difficult. And the central bankers, they're not just going to sit back and just say, you know what, you're right, we should get rid of the central bank. We're okay with it. They're not going to do that. They're never going to give. Just like the deep state operatives. Do you think they're ever going to admit that they were wrong? Do you ever think they're going to give an inch? Do you ever think they're going to even say that, yeah, we were committing crimes, we were committing treason? They're never going to do this. What they're really good at is continuing with the propaganda, continuing with lies. And this is the same with the central bank. The central bank is famous for telling countries, the people, exactly the opposite of what is really happening, which means they're lying to the public. And we know that the central banks, they're going to catch on. They're going to realize what is happening, and it's already begun. So they understand that Trump is coming after them with trade. They also know that he's going to be coming after them with the currency. Who creates the currency? And we're already starting to see the central banks unite against the patriots. This reset has already begun. The battle for who controls the currency The creation of the currency has already begun. So what is happening? The International Monetary Fund and the European Central Bank, they have teamed up. These are two of the most powerful international bankers, two of the most powerful central banks, not including the biz. And they are teaming up in a joint effort to halt President Trump's America First trade policies. Mario Draghi, who's the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, they are urging Trump to abandon his trade war and return to the status quo preferred by the central bank, the globalists. They went on to say that global growth has been subdued for more than 6 years, and the largest economies in the world are putting up or threatening to put up new trade barriers. Well, who are they talking about? They're talking about the United States. They're talking about the United States implementing tariffs, reworking the globalist trade deals. Lagarde also warned these troubling developments will create headwinds for all, but certainly for the CESEE growth model, a model that has relied on openness and integration. No, their model relied on control. Their model relies on their trade policies. Trump is no longer following their formula. He has broken away from what they have been doing for a very long time. Now, Trump, he is intent upon making America great again. And the central banks, the elite, they do not approve of this. What we are seeing and what we're witnessing right now is the reset. Now, the reset is a little different than what we were talking about years ago when Obama was president. If Clinton was president right now, the reset would be what we were talking about. But again, things have changed. The Patriots took control. The Patriots decided, okay, we're going to win this election and we're going to undo everything the globalists, everything the central banks have done over the many, many years. They realized that this point in time is the perfect point in time to undo everything. Why? Because the central bank system is imploding on itself. Their credibility right now is being questioned every single day. People are being educated on the central bank. Before, many people didn't even know about the central bank. People didn't even know what it was. They had no clue what the Federal Reserve was. They always thought, hey, it's part of the government, and they create and they handle the economy. Now people, over many, many years, they are waking up to the fact that the Federal Reserve is a private corporation. And they're realizing that the central banks, they don't do things in the best interest of the people, not just here in the United States, but around the world. And Trump, with him continually contradicting the Fed and pointing to the Fed, people are now starting to learn what the Federal Reserve is all about. And this is going to continue. The central bank, they're very worried about being exposed, about pushing them from behind the curtain to out in front of the curtain. They never wanted this to happen. Trump, by continually contradicting, by continually pointing the finger at the Fed, he is putting the spotlight on them. Think about what Trump and the Patriots have done so far. They have reworked the trade deals. He's created new deals or reworked old deals. And he is using tariffs against the central bank system, their trade deals. And every time something happens in the economy, every time he wants the economy to get better and better and better, in this central bank system. He points to the central bank, and he's doing this on purpose. There are no coincidences. He is building the narrative right now. And the central banks, as we move forward, they're not just going to sit down and take this. We know this. The central banks, they're going to fight back, and they're going to fight back dirty. They're going to try to stop him any way they possibly can. And yes, they use events. Yes, they will try to destroy these trade deals. Remember, each of these countries, they have a private Western central bank in these countries. There's also the deep state. Trump is battling all of this. And I'm not just saying him alone. The patriots are battling all of this. And this is why during this reset, everything is going to look like it's in chaos. Because when you're making a change from one system to another, and the other side is fighting, they create chaos. And they try to make it look like everything that Trump and the patriots are doing is not good for the people. But again, think mirror. Actually, it is the opposite. And we can see it has begun around the world. Once the UK ditches the EU with a no-deal Brexit, once Italy says, you know something, we just watched what happened with the UK, we are now ditching the EU. Once this starts, and I do believe this is all part of the plan, because you have to hit the central banks from every angle. One country cannot take on the central bank apparatus. It's completely impossible. And I do believe that this is part of the plan, because if you notice throughout Europe, things are changing very, very slowly. The global elite realize that they're no longer in control, and they're losing control every single day. And as they lose control, again, they fight dirty. They're not just going to let it happen. And we're starting to see the beginning process of all this. We see that the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the ECB, they are now working closer together, and they're making it completely obvious in what they're doing. Now, again, this is part of the process of exposing the central bank for what they really are. Think about what Trump has done with the deep state and the Dems. He allowed them to show their true colors. The same thing is going to happen with the central bank. We are now in the reset. The battle has begun for the economy. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.